Good evening, guys. I'm really glad to have you on board with us. I'd like to quickly start by thanking everyone for being a part of the session. The session will be taken by I and Vivek. So right now, I'm based out of Mumbai with your quick back in the company as well, and we will do a deep dive session around lighthouses. And with me, my colleague Vivek would also be will be coordinating the whole session. Vivek is based out of New York, and we are here to work with entities on both US and India soil. So, before we start and jump into the context, uh, we would love to make it as engaging as possible. If there are any queries, if there are any questions, happy to answer them on the spot, and would love to address as many queries as possible. I think there are two broad outcomes that we're looking for as a part of this session, and to make it very meaningful, everyone who has joined here. One, we would want to be as agnostic and as use case specific on a lighthouse as possible. So we want to share our learnings, our experiences, and how can a typical enterprise about their journey. At the same time, as a side outcome, would also love if we can, if there are any queries as a follow-on also, we can have those sessions also planned out. The whole idea is to uh, work with companies who are in this domain and are looking to accelerate their journey. So happy to be a part of their journey, essentially. So with that, I'll quickly open the flow and set the stage as we move ahead. So as I said, in this session, we're talking about how can we accelerate our journeys to become a lighthouse enterprise, and we'll try to do as much deep dive as possible in this session. Uh, I'm Rishi Sharma, one of the co-founders at Facnon Labs. I look at product and investments primarily, and with me, my colleague Vivek is also there. He's joining in from New York. He's a director of sales and technology based out of New York. And yeah, so I'm from, in terms of our background as well, we both have been hardcore engineers. I'm from IT Bombay, BTech from there. And Vivek is an IT Kharagpur CS guy. So that's it. Vivek, over to you for a quick introduction and then we jump in.
Sure. Thanks, Rishi, for this seminar and like this welcome. So I think it's a very interesting topic that we'll be talking today about, like accelerating the journey of the companies to become a lighthouse. And this is a very a good initiative that the World Economic Forum has come up with. So we're happy to share my knowledge on the same and help the companies on the journey.
Sure. Thank you. So yeah, so without further ado, let me quickly jump into the topic. So if I have to give you a quick run through on what lighthouses are. So essentially, in 2018s and 19s, essentially this is something that became as a recognition, as a joint project between World Economic Forum and McKinsey, where essentially they have worked on building this sort of a hall of fame for enterprises which are cutting edge in terms of adoption of latest digital technologies. But the key point is that it is not just adoption of technologies that is sufficient to be a part of a lighthouse. You also need to demonstrate significant value creation, and that value creation typically has to be at least in two-digit impact. So being a part of the journey is transformational on all the fronts, not only in terms of adoption of new technologies to make lives easier, but also significantly increasing the efficacy of what we're doing as manufacturing units. So it makes yeah. It's like a if I have to give you a counterpart, it's like Michelin star given to exceptional restaurants. So this is a recognition given to exceptional enterprises for pioneering digitization, latest technologies such as AI, IoT, robotics, and analytics, and incorporating them into their current systems and really pushing the envelope of Industry 4.0. So that's at a high level what the concept of lighthouse is. Now, doing a little deep dive into like what are the different types of lighthouses, and as we progress, we'll talk about what's the typical application process, what are the qualifying criteria, what we recommend as a typical process to go through being uh, lighthouse enabled and then going through that process, and how can we help in that journey. So to start with, really understanding lighthouses, there are four types of lighthouses that are there. The first one is factory lighthouse, which essentially is awarded for a single unit, which has, like I said, done multifunctional adoption of different digital initiatives, and have seen and have seen impact on their day-to-day operations. Then we have end-to-end lighthouses, E2E lighthouses, where they're not just limiting themselves to the shop floor or single unit, but they've extended their impact on their value chain, right from suppliers to customers, to give a more end-to-end impact. Uh, yeah, in the world right now, by the way, there have been 14 waves total till now. As of wave 13, we have 189 lighthouses out there, out of which 125 lighthouses are factory lighthouse, and almost 57 lighthouses are awarded on E2E. Then the third category of lighthouses which are awarded are for sustainability lighthouse. Essentially, what that means is that it's not only digital and value creation, but there's also a sustainability aspect of it, where there is demonstrated reduction of carbon footprint, energy footprint, or different elements of sustainability, right from safety to better compliance if they're being done. So they're awarded on those fronts as well. So we have almost 25 global lighthouses, and then there's a plethora of companies who have not just stopped at one lighthouse unit, and obviously there's a whole aspect of global recognition. There's a whole aspect of value unlock that they get. They tend to keep on further investing in these initiatives, so they apply in further waves as well. So waves are cohorts or application that they do, and they are further awarded lighthouses for their more sites or going cross categories as well. So these are the four different types of lighthouses that are awarded. Right now, like I said, as of the 13th wave, we have 189 lighthouses awarded. If you look at a global, okay, before that, so all these lighthouses, though they are awarded on individual enterprise basis, there is a global lighthouse network, which is this community of all the enterprises where where they're part of this global network, where there's not only a recognition aspect on being a lighthouse, but then also a lot of collaboration as a community that happens. So this is such an amazing thing if you think around it. There are these leaders in manufacturing with their technical and cultural benefits that they enjoy, and this, at the same time, very surgical investments happening in their verticals. Now, if these entities who have invested so much and are already cutting edge in what they're doing, and they come on the same platform and start sharing notes, so that's such a great way of sort of co-development or sort of cooperative growth that sort of just accelerates all the parties which are part of this community. So the Global Lighthouse Network is a global World Economic Forum initiative. It's a global community. At the same time, it's a knowledge sharing platform for participants to sort of engage with each other. In terms of breakdown, Asia or South Asia Pacific tends to have a critical or like a bulk of lighthouses right now. In terms of global footprint, China is leading the charge with 78 lighthouses as of wave 13. But then within South Asia aspect also, India has as of wave 13, and there are more lighthouses which have been allotted over the last year. There are 16 lighthouses which have been announced, and we as a company are working with 4 of them. At the same time, US is also ramping up their journey, and as of today, as of now, they have 14 lighthouses already. So that's as you can see on a global landscape, it's a fairly coveted network to be a part of. Yeah, Vivek, you want to take it further and start with qualifying criteria?
Right, sure. So, what are the qualification criteria for lighthouse status? So, as you can see, one of the major qualification criteria is to demonstrate impact. So for that, you need to show like what are the major areas where you have created impact in your manufacturing domain or in your other value chain, be it like your supply chain or logistics. So you have to come up with metrics. You have to show that you have measured them, and they are actually vetted by third-party people as well, along with World Economic Forum. So that impact has to be really tangible, and it should show that it has come up from the initiatives taken by the organization. So that impact being like significant in areas like throughput or production increment or reducing cost or downtime. So there are multiple areas of impact, but then the point is there has to be a significant impact. So that is one. Next is end-to-end scope. So sometimes it can't be just a pilot scope that you did for a plant or a particular section and then you got results and then you can say, hey, I can be a lighthouse. It has to be a holistic approach. It has to be something that you have made transformation to an entire process. It can't be just a single process in it, and it has to be done taking your people along, be it people who work at the factory or your other teams like supply chain or logistics or procurement. So all have to be aligned, and there has to be a transformation of the process itself, and it has to be shown that it has been scaled up to multiple, be it like multiple processes or plants. So that is what we mean by end-to-end scope. Now, the other thing is organizational readiness. So that is also something which is assessed before you qualify to a lighthouse. What it means is that it should be like top down and bottoms up. Both should come up together to make it organizational ready. What it means is that it's not just that someone from the leadership says, "Hey, we want to become a lighthouse, so let's take these initiatives." But it has to be like ingrained. The process has to be ingrained in the people who are the operators. They should have changing the processes. They should come up with ideas that can be implemented. So in that way, there has to be a lot of governance which has to be come up for this initiative to take place. And there has to be a committee which regularly does cadences on top of it to see how we are improving. So it's a process. It's not just like some initiative that we took and it's done. It has to be something which has to be sustained. And lastly, the tech has to be there. The tech part, the digital transformation. So we have to show that we are doing initiatives in the fourth industrial revolution, be it implementation of sensorization or advanced analytics or automation or industrial IoT. So there has to be use of technology and impact, and has to be a transformation level on the whole organization. Then you can say that you are the lighthouse, the beacon of change for lighthouses. Yeah.
Okay. I'll
Okay.
I will
Okay.
this things up. Okay, so in terms of application process, I think the whole process of application selection is a multi-year process. And as Vivek said, that there has to be a significant amount of investment, both in terms of time and resources, plus there has to be a broad management buy-in to really be ready for the whole process. So in this case, there are broadly 5 phases or 5 stages to complete this process, and it starts with preparation. Essentially, it all boils down to what an individual industry, what an individual factory, what an individual enterprise looks like, what are the unique challenges, and what are the levers of value unlock that have to be accelerated through digital interventions. Now, so this is where we start by defining vision and rules on what needs to be done. What is the roadmap to deploy these digital initiatives and reap the benefits? At the same time, a whole activity has to be done to run feasibility studies, gather or build baselines, as well as transform the team to start using those technologies on a day-to-day basis, so that they enjoy benefits of these interventions, and these benefits are also to be demonstrated. So this activity is something which a partner makes adds a lot of value, because they bring in a lot of objectivity and a lot of cross-pollinated insights, which can be very helpful in terms of really accelerating this journey and making it much more relevant. So a partner like us become very handy on both strategic planning side, on what sort of roadmap makes the most sense, at the same time bringing in the right technology and having the skin in the game to not only recommend but also act on those recommendations to demonstrate those values. Now, once that preparation part is done, which is the biggest part of the whole process, then we start with the application process where we essentially are ready. We have demonstrated value and we build the case to be presented to the required authorities. Once that is done, we have filled the application, we have all the collaterals in place. Then we have to essentially run the process, which includes a site visit from the relevant authorities, and a proper due diligence is done to demonstrate why the site or the enterprise is eligible for the coveted recognition. And once that is done, there's a panel review which analyzes it. There's a bit of back and forth in terms of just running through the process. And once that's done, perfect. Then it's all about announcement and uh, enjoying the optic side of things, as the benefits of the optic side of things as well. But obviously, as we run through this process alone, irrespective of even getting through the lighthouse mesh or not, these initiatives that the enterprise take already pay for themselves multiple times fold till they even start the application process. So this is something that is highly recommended for enterprises to take up. Uh, the win is obviously amazing if you're able to pass through that, but even if you're not able to pass through that, the investment alone makes enterprises much more future proof. They're able to squeeze just much more value and just be much more resilient and reliant. So yeah, so this is the typical process. And in each stage, we, like I said, we recommend that there should be a partner that gives it both three things, like better objectivity, a more wholesome experience in terms of doing things just more efficiently. At the same time, complementing on a bunch of gaps which are not innate or which are not fundamental to the core companies. So they are able to leverage those extended capabilities as a partner. And yeah, like I said, there are a lot of, just going through the process alone has significant benefits. So if I have to break them down, there are broad five strategic and operational benefits that these enterprises enjoy. Starting with efficiency and cost gains, obviously with better digital initiatives, with more efficient processes, there's an increment on throughput. That means the factories can produce more with the same capital capacity. The ROCE gets better. There are cost advantages in terms of cost of ownerships and cost of operations. There are better yields, so lower rejection. So overall, we have advantage on both top line and bottom line. At the same time, because of these initiatives, there's greater agility as well as greater resilience on the system. So things like predictive maintenance, things like asset health analysis, and things like process parameter optimization and other initiatives just give much more resilience to current operations as well as add so much agility on unforeseen scenarios. Then at the same time, this not only enables the shop floor as an infrastructure, it also empowers workforce. So a lot of I would say low hanging activities tend to automate. The workforce tend to not do redundant work that much, and a lot of human capital can be then unlocked to do more high value work. So it gets more engaging. The work gets more valuable in terms of per employee throughput. At the same time, there's just more consistency across the work that is being done. So it just empowers the workforce much more. Then obviously it also adds to the cutting edge nature of initiatives being taken. So in terms of innovation, market leadership, this really forces the enterprises to look beyond what is normal or which is the median and scout for what are the future ready initiatives that needs to be done. And lastly, there's a whole aspect of sustainability impact. with resilient systems, with these systems coming in, there is a better carbon footprint impact. There is a better compliance adherence impact. There is a much better, I would say, emissions, as well as just the environmental aspect of it is much better. The governance aspect of running the show is also efficient. So almost all the aspects of sustainability are also accelerated as we go through this transformation journey alone. And obviously, if things done right, the investments tend to pay for themselves multiple times. Yes. Vivek, you want to take this up?
Yeah, sure. So, what are the expected timelines and investments for this Lighthouse journey? So, as we discussed previously, it's not a few months initiative that you take and you just become a Lighthouse. It's a multi-year and project as well. It's a transformational journey, so it has to take some time. So, what are the different steps that we can break down with timelines that will help us in this journey? So, first step comes to assess and strategize. Basically, you want to assess the key areas or the critical areas where it does make significant impact that you can showcase, and obviously it also makes your business sense as well. On top of that, that these are the metrics that you achieve, which helps you in business as well as to showcase that this transformation has brought upon the changes. So in that, we define a clear-cut strategy. So in that, background can help you build that strategy. We will come and assess different processes, the production or the associated things as well. We'll assess and let you, what are the industry benchmarks and where are you on par or below par of that. And based on that, we'll define that these are the areas where you can actually create those impacts. These are the areas where you are actually technologically lagging. So with the suite of use cases that we have, that we offer, and the kind of industrial exposure that we have, we tend to do this, assessment. We actually do this as part of our sales process as well. We do that assessment anyways. But if it's Lighthouse, then we will actually focus on the major areas where technological interventions can create that impact. So we believe 6 months would be a good time for us to assess and then come up with. And if maybe the systems are not in place, we can put the sensorization in place and get the data and tell you, hey, these are the areas where we can actually do the transformation. Now, next up is the pilot and scale up. So this, I would say, is the most crucial part, where implementing the pilot, once you're selected, to implement it, and then parallelly you're also making your own, transformation is also happening in the organizations where people are independent to decide and do some experiments themselves, and then once those experiments give fruits and results, then transforming it to a much wider scale to do it. So maybe if it's one plant, you want to do it other plants, or maybe it's a particular line that you did and you got a certain result, and you want to expand it to other lines. So that scale up will take time and investments, and that has to show the results. So once we have the scale up, and then on the scale up, once we get the confidence that, hey, this is actually giving us results, that is the time that we say, okay, all the things are in place and we are ready to go ahead and apply for a lighthouse. So these things to multiply will take some more time, and by the end of this phase, the factory should be realizing significant performance, and that should qualify for the lighthouse recognition.
Perfect. Yeah. So I'll just add a quick point on this. The underlying theme is that this is like a typical schema that we recommend, and we have seen that we need to follow. Companies might take a little longer time. Also, there might be situations where things might be a little more crunched as well. But this is a typical journey that any enterprise needs to follow with any partner. Now, there is a case to be built, and this is where I want to double click on the final part of our thing, that with a company like us, where we have an integrated platform and operational capabilities to help companies accelerate, there is a factor advantage. And there are the three parts to the equation, I would say. One, because most of these applications are cross-functional, working with different stakeholders, solving different problems. Having an end-to-end industrial AI platform is, I would say, a must, because having 10 different platforms for 10 different problem statements has its own challenges on scale up, change management, utilization. At the same time, the cost and complexity of deploying and scaling up these applications is just too much to manage. So the first advantage that we bring on the table is a full end-to-end stack, right from IOSense, DeepSense, Bruce, Foundry, and Forge. We can definitely have a separate session to explain these things. But this gives a unified platform to go from sensor to intelligence, hyper-customized intelligence, and action at scale. Then the second thing is a unified platform that gives an I3C framework. So the whole idea is that right from instrumentation, insights, integration, and control, the platform should be able to provide all of these things, obviously tailored to each and every use case. So this is where the scope part comes in, and different parts of the problem statements identified to be intervened and accelerated in terms of digitization and value realization. The flow typically remains the same. We need to have some instrumentation, data aggregation. Then, basis on the data that we're capturing, we need to generate insights. Those insights needs to be integrated with the relevant system, which is like the nervous system, into the muscle of the brain, into muscles, and then uh, interlocking those insights and those integrated things into action. Uh, that really creates that value out there. So, be it human in the loop aspect of people leveraging those insights to take better decisions and better actions, for automated action, automation, which sort of unlocks that value which has been latent. So that I3C framework is very important in terms of the technology being selected. And finally, a part of that is the monitor, decide, automate enablement, which essentially is for the human in the loop aspect, that uh, we need to diagnose things in real time on a continuous basis for us to have all the relevant information to take decisions. Then having a decision system that in a superhuman level or provides a just much more multidimensional analytics framework for the decision makers to choose from high quality, I would say, deliberation. And then automate is where it's not everything automation is machine automation, but automation can also be decision orchestration. That once the process or the loop is finalized, that these insights lead to these decisions and these actions, all those actions can then be automated through human in the loop aspect as well as automation of systems aspect. So this is where the factor advantage comes in terms of unlocking these benefits. And if I have to sort of summarize what we bring on the table, and again, this translates to any other sort of partner or the enterprise who is going through the process. We break it down into three broad phases, as Vivek mentioned. In the first phase, we call it as a data and connectivity foundation phase. So I would want to say that it's not just assessment that we want to do when we come on the picture, but solving for the data infrastructure and quick wins around basic digital twin use cases. But then the second phase is where we do deep dive into pilot projects and validation of value. And third phase is where all those validations have been done and we are able to now automate and demonstrate value at scale. So let me quickly take 5 minutes to run through what these elements are, how they how these building blocks tend to solve these three phases. Yeah. So, like I said, in the phase one, when we talk about data connectivity and foundation phase, this is where we start by assessing what is the current status of the manufacturing setup, what is the readiness of its digital infrastructure, and readiness of the management as well as people running the show in terms of where the gaps are. So we start by a Forge infrastructure, which essentially is a digital backbone to connect all of the data into a single source of truth. Once we have that, within this time, we're not just in parallel discussing different opportunities, but at the same time, we are doing baselining and quick wins around low-hanging fruits and low-hanging use cases, which can be around OE, which can be around energy management, which can be around some sort of digital twins, or predictive maintenance to get those early wins. At the same time, it also lays the foundation of advanced analytics. So this opens doors to now thinking out of the box and going cutting edge in terms of what use cases uh, can these enterprises pioneer. This is where the phase two sort of starts. This is a 6 month to an or to an 6 to an 18 months long process. 6 month to 18 month sort of time frame from the commencement. This is where a lot of piloting, a lot of trial and value realization activities are done. So this starts by deploying our deep sense stack. So be it on the predictive side, be it on quality optimization, be it energy efficiency, be it per throughput increment, be it yield increment. There are multiple themes on which we work, and we run multiple experiments and pilots to test efficacy of all these use cases. Once that is done, they are then put to scale up journey. In parallel, we have a contextual intelligence stack called Bruce AI. So think of Bruce AI as a domain expert on the role, full fledged agentic infrastructure. So essentially, you can simulate a McKinsey or Bain, you can simulate an energy auditor, you can simulate a process consultant, you can simulate a compliance auditor, all those roles. You can simulate a plant manager, you can simulate even owners. So essentially, access to these deep domain experts becomes highly accessible and highly scalable. And those domain experts, those domain AI experts, can then be scaled across the board. And third thing are the humans in the loop improvements, which is where we interlock a lot of these insights being generated to action. So it is very important that if any insight, any recommendation is as good as action being taken upon it. So to close that loop and to have a full end-to-end execution, the product also allows us to have these application layers which really make these systems more reliable and much more consistent. So as a phase two, the outcome is a plethora of use cases tried out, the successful ones being nurtured and sort of scaled up to see value at scale. And that essentially is the phase three. So phase three is where we scale up successful initiatives and also interlink it with autonomous operations. At the same time, once these value realizations start to become significant and documentable, also starting the process of capturing and documenting these things and being ready for the further process of application to Lighthouse. So for us, in this case, there are 2-3 products that help us, like Foundry. Foundry is an enterprise stack which helps them to seamlessly scale successful wins across lines, across setups, and at the same time allowing any amount of customization that is needed. At the same time, process integration automation allows us to interlock a lot of these aspects into continuous outcomes, be it through process automation or be it through human in the loop automation. At the same time, this also opens further doors in terms of continuous improvement and Lighthouse readiness. Because once the management has gone through these initiatives and have seen these early wins, then it also opens much more doors in terms of management buy-in, in terms of funds unlock, and in terms of digital readiness to try even crazier use cases. So, in summary, as the phase three ends, the factories or the enterprises are not only ready; they are at the frontier of digital manufacturing, and they are already realizing a lot of value that has been unlocked. And the whole which and the whole idea is that once people go through this, they tend to keep on working on this because the ROIs are just significant. Yes. In terms of closing the just in terms of the subject, closing this presentation, uh, we have shared a link. We're more than happy to not only do remote call assessments, but we're very happy to sort of do in-person week-long assessments of your enterprises and give a comprehensive readiness report card in terms of what we think is the current state and what can be done. And the best part is the assessment is on us. So yeah, so with that, happy to answer any questions, happy to address any queries. I understand in terms of interest of time, we are moving faster. But yeah, Vivek, any pointers you want to add on?
No, I think you rightly summarized it in this thing that the value has to be realized. We are not just doing this initiative for the sake of it or become lighthouse. It has to be financially viable and also a very tangible outputs need to come for this lighthouse initiative. It's not just for the branding purposes. So yeah, I think we are open to questions. Anything I think people can ask.
Hi Rishi, that was a really good presentation. I just wanted to know how many lighthouses are there in total and what's the geographical distribution of them, if you have any idea. And what's the impact these countries are driving? Basically you said China has most of them, but other countries must be doing something to reach their level and what is the impact on a global level they do that?
Okay, so right now there are more than 210 lighthouses already. They tend to announce them on waves, the different waves. So as of the total announcement, which is the wave 13, which was the latest one, we have 189 announced lighthouses, but there are more than 210 in total. China tends to lead this back because they tend to invest a lot in this initiative. But I'll just share my screen and give an accurate answer to this. But in terms of number of lighthouses which have been announced, we are looking at a global spread of this is the breakdown. Like China having 78 of them, the EMEA, the European bloc having 52, the Asia X, which is Asia, South Asia, having 39. North America has 14, primarily in the US only. Latin America tend to have 5, and Africa just got one, North Africa. So this is the sort of global spread. In terms of significance, this so one of the things that we always talk with our customers is this a necessity or is this just a luxury? So as companies become more and more competitive, the edge in terms of the edge comes from more and more digital initiatives which squeeze more value, which means we're able to produce more, we're able to reduce my cost of ownership, just be more resilient. So the block which is investing a lot in these, or the geographic part is it. So factories tend to, in a way, work with each other. Employees tend to move around with different enterprises. So if an ecosystem is active and have more lighthouses, so it accelerates the ecosystem even more, because as a CDO moves from one place to another, as the people running the show, the consultants move from one place to another, they're able to take those learnings, take those initiatives with them, and this just accelerates the whole ecosystem. It's very important that in India, as we want to focus more on export, we want to focus more on manufacturing, make in India, then it has to be competitive. It becomes very, very important that both India and the US invest more in initiatives like Lighthouse, so that they are able to remain their competitive advantages and at the same time maintain the quality of what they're producing. So it becomes very critical on a I would say geographic front to have as many lighthouses as possible.
So just to yeah.
Okay, go.
So when we say a lighthouse, so what are the KPIs we are tracking? Because as you explained, there are multiple solutions for multiple companies, and even one factory can be different from another factory, even if they are solving for the same thing. So companies like McKinsey and all these consulting companies do find out all these KPIs for different companies, but what are the key KPIs which you think will be common for all of them?
Take this up, Rishi.
Sure.
So to answer your question, I'll share my screen quickly to show you the kind of impact that is possible. So if you can see here, this is based on the World Economic Forum report itself on the kind of KPIs that they have improved, especially the kind of potential it has and what it has been proven. So if you see, like right from productivity to agility to speed to market. There are a lot of KPIs being catered here, and all the kind of lighthouses that we discussed, be it factory based or end to end or sustainability. You can see, for example, some of the use cases like productivity. There has been like around 400% improvement as well in some of the mentioned use cases. You see, and then most of the density is also around productivity. If you see around the lighthouses that have come up. So I would say there is a very big range of impact that is there, and what I have observed from my learnings, like anything north of 30 to 50% is the minimum impact on any of the KPIs that has been brought down. People are manufacturing being the meat or the core of the impact, I would say, but then people have gone on to automate their in fact negotiations, procurement process, online tendering process. So the spread is quite wide, but the major focus around the productivity of their manufacturing parts. And I think as the stats shows, the most of the lighthouses are also on the factory-based lighthouses. So I hope that answers your question.
Perfect.
We can connect offline on that. Thank you so much. Rashid and Vivek.
I'll possibly
Rashid,
provide a few details. Yes, Kiran, please go ahead.
This is Kiran Bilsare from Icon Limited.
Hello, sir.
Now, my question is, you talked about the manufacturing mode. I wanted to understand what is basically there are you can say 4 pillars when marketing when manufacturing has to be looked into an overall perspective.
Okay.
One is probably the R&D, second is the marketing, third probably is the SAM, and fourth probably is the manufacturing.
Yeah.
So, do you see any percentage-wise importance in these 4 verticals as far as Lighthouse implementation is concerned?
So Kiran sir, my feedback on this is there is no clear criteria, at least from our conversation, because we have talked to McKinsey people also. Literally, one of my colleagues has been a part of drafting of this whole process during, he's an Ahmedabad IT Bombay guy, was part of this team, was drafting this back in 2016-17. So I don't think so that there is a clear percentage. What they're looking at an objective level, they're figuring out what sort of implementations are being done, and on a very, I would say, relatively, not a very, but on a relatively case-on-case basis, trying to allot. What I have understood is that there have to be 2-3 things. There should not be only a single use case which has a significant outcome. They need to see a much more broader initiative. So focusing on multiple parts, like for example, manufacturing, there are different aspects. You have R&D. There is a whole aspect of supply chain. So there are different elements to where digital initiatives can take place. So that is one. And the second thing, which is very critical, is proven value realization, be it through direct ROI or be it through indirect means. There needs to be a significant value unlock for them to truly consider. Apart from that, degree of management, change management, degree of their commitment to further this cause, a lot of software aspects come in. But as far as I know, and I can get back to you offline also with a more detailed one, and we can set up a call with an expert from like my friend's network also to give much more detailed answer. But for now, this is what I have understood in my experience, that it is relatively subjective. But they need to see the spread and they need to see the impact.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, when we are talking about this, it is an ecosystem which we are trying to create between all these verticals, right?
Yes.
So definitely there must be some linkages on these other pillars also. Because these are in a supporting role anyhow.
Yeah.
The manufacturing.
Yeah, it all overlaps. So the whole idea is
because the KPIs, whatever you have shown, it is only the manufacturing KPIs which you are showing.
Yeah, because that's our strength. So there's a little bit of selection bias on our side because we focus more on manufacturing.
Right. That is the main part of the ecosystem, you can say.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is a nice presentation and probably more insights we understood for the Lighthouse also.
Amazing.
Thanks
Happy to
David
contribute, sir.
and Rashid.
Yeah, happy to contribute, sir.
Definitely.
Any other questions, guys? I know it is late.
So possibly they are writing a few familiar faces. I can see Anand and AC Varma. They are from high tech. They are our partners. Then we have Mr. Emas Viraya and Jayaprakash ji, who about
I think we're putting everyone in the spotlight in the evening time.
then having possibly just a shout out to me.
Really appreciate it. No, amazing. I think if there are no further questions, then we can conclude also. As a next step, what we'll do, we'll share for all the attendees. We'll share the presentation and a bit of collaterals by tomorrow or day after as a part of the goodie. And like I said, happy to take these conversations offline over the email. We'll share some details as well. And happy to spend as much time as need be from our team side in terms of plugging the right experts and seeing if we can add value to the ecosystem. But yeah, I think that would be all from my side. Any final question? Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Prakash and joining from UK. A nice concept to know being in energy for 20 years. This is the first time I actually got to know about this concept.
Okay.
So thank you for that. Yeah, and looking forward to getting more inputs on the same and probably chasing it down sometime. Yeah.
Absolutely. Would love to, sir.
Definitely, sir. We will share this deck across, and any questions you can definitely mail us, and we'll be happy to respond.
Yeah, happy to set up a call basically. Happy to set up. You're based in the UK. I don't have a direct partner, but let's talk at least.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Well, I get just one last minute for any last minute questions. I'm sure everybody, as we boggle with all the information, quite a lot of insights on this particular call. All right, then. I believe that's about it. It's a pleasure having every one of you. And Kiranji, we'll definitely connect. And Mr. Kumar, who's asking for a job, we'll definitely connect as well. The persistent chap over here. Appreciate this. For him specifically, I just that's really.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, everyone. Have a great evening / great afternoon. And thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Rashid.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.